Monday.
And that it is, my man. Welcome to your best day ever. It's Mojo Monday.
Heck yeah. We start the week off with this stuff, right? Like, what better way to start your week?
Well, you start strong, you finish strong. There's no way around it.
Absolutely. We're in the middle. This is going to be our third session of life hacks. And, we started out with the gold medal. Then we did grudge, not grunge, Rick. I know you think grunge in music.
It's all about the flannel, baby.
Letting go of the grudge. And today we're going to talk about the clarity around 5 wealth determiners in your life. The power of having clarity around who the 5 wealth determiners are in your life. And before we go there, one is, what's a wealth determiner? And 2, what's really wealth?
Ooh.
Yeah.
So wealth is a big word, and people immediately assume it's monetary and it's, functional utility of money. And it's my humble opinion is wealth is a mindset, and wealth equals capacity to be, have, and do whatever you want, and to have choices and not feel limited and not feel constrained. And so I think we've heard this before, that money's only good for the good that it does. And the good in money is that it funds the perfect life. So I would, with caution, say, make sure you frame wealth in a holistic fashion, and make sure that all aspects of your life, you're hitting line drives and home runs, so that the collective feels like you're really in a movement and not just a moment.
Yeah. I'm sitting here as you're talking. One of the things that you like to talk about is the wheel of life, right?
Yeah.
Technically, wealth could be in any area of the wheel of life. I could have wealth in health, wealth in relationships, wealth in net worth. I could have wealth in job, right? Like every aspect of that wheel of life, I could have a definition of wealth. Yet I do believe most people think of it in terms of some kind of economic position.
Absolutely. And back to your point about who, I believe, I've said this a million, the quality of my life is directly correlated to the quality of the people in it.
Yep.
And if you want to top grade any of those categories and you see value, why not weight them and make sure that you've got the best of the best in each category, inspiring a better version of you and adding value to every day's experience.
100%. All right. So what's a wealth determiner? Like I think of the term wealth determiner, and I remember David Osborne really kind of pouring into my life early on around this. Like, who are your 5, Brett? He would always ask me, who's your 5? And is it upstream or downstream? 1, and 2, it's the 5 people in our life that are the most important people in determining how our wealth gets defined or created. And it could be somebody that works for us. It also could be somebody above us that's bringing opportunity to us, right? And it's really simple as, I don't know where my hand is. You don't want to have 20 and you don't want to have 1. 5 is a really good balance around, hey, these 5 people in my life are the most instrumental people in helping my life move forward to where I want to go in life.
Yeah. And I would guess that if you're really seeking that holistic wealth and happiness, they're probably 5 unique people and not 5 in the same lane. Yeah. And you made a good point. I mean, I think a wealth determiner is anyone that either brings opportunity, expertise, environmental energy. Those are all wealth determiners, because a wealth determiner is nothing more than someone who pluses what you are and who you are and adds value to your experience and creates. And it's, and for them, by the way, for that person to stick around that's truly talented, we talk about talent versus non-talent. You have to be able to give back in equal proportion or greater, because the law of reciprocity is alive and well. And for talent to hang out, there has to be a win. And we use this term came up in the last episode where we talked about transactional relationships versus transformational. Wealth determiners are always transformational in their approach. They come from contribution. They just, like talented people, know that if you give your best and you're hanging out with the best, that 1 and 1 equals 3, it will be undeniable. And that's transformational for both parties. Transactionally related relationships are the ones where, I'm only here because you're going to give me this widget or this dollar, check.
We're bartering, we're trading.
Yeah. And it's only as good as your ability to pay up that day, and it's off otherwise. And that's not that's not a win-win. And that just doesn't go anywhere. And so someone gave me this just this week. They said, it's like pulling a horse. It was Scott Hardy, my good friend who handles all the tech for the Rawls Group. He said, it's interesting. He was somebody who used it. And, one horse has 1 horsepower. 2 horses would be, a second horse has 1 horsepower, but you yoke up 2 horses going in the same direction behind the same carriage. It's like a multiple of 5. So it's not 1 and 1 is 2, it's 5, because there's unison and synergy. And that's what a wealth determiner does. There's synergy and there's reciprocity.
Yep. I think about boat engines these days and they say 150 horsepower. I don't think they ever strung up 150 horses just to measure it, but we'll leave it there. All right. So
it would be awkward if they did.
Yeah, of course. So the other who's, I want to make sure we make mention of this. This is not a conversation around cutting people out of your life. Although there may be some people you should cut out of your life for toxic reasons, but this is just a conversation around having clarity around who are the 5 most important people in determining your wealth. And there's going to be lots of people in our life that we have great relationships with. We're just trying to determine the clarity around that inner circle, that 5 people that are really helping you go where you want to go in life.
Yeah. And if you're the average of the 3 to 5 people you spend the most time with, just as an intellectual human being, it just makes sense to invest time with people that, again, are lifters, not leaners.
Yeah.
And, lifting and leaning, man, are they dragging you down? Or are they lifting you up? And so to say, ditch your dysfunctional friends, or if it's someone inner circle family member, I mean, there's just the honorable thing to do is support the people that you love and that are part of that tribe. But at the same time, you choose where and how you invest, and you choose how much energy to invest. And then just realize, is it creating, are the conversations creating irritation and discord and unsettling energy? Is it, when you leave, do you feel less than? And is there trauma attached, and or is it a positive experience? And I would just say it's intelligent to minimize the number of those conversations and maximize the ones that are all about potential and possibility. So and like you said, there's certain relationships, but you choose how much time to put into them and how to pour in them. And it's just smart to analyze your current inner circle and then take an honest approach to, if who, not what, if that person was in this inner circle, a new person in addition, what would that look like for me? And there's one other litmus I would overlay, Brett, and it's, are they positives and adding value? Are they neutral, or are they negative?
Okay,
and so I would kind of list,
define that a little more.
Well, it goes back to, are they lifters or leaners? Are they lifters and add value? And every time you're with them, you leave feeling better about yourself and better about not just yourself, but your ability to lift them as well. That's that whole transformational relationship that's so valuable. So that's what lifters do. They lift, they show up, and the environment just gets better. They have the right attitude, the right energy. Their ideas are always proactive and positive. When they do criticize, it's in a very constructive way, in a way that helps, you analyze true defaults in maybe an agreement or in a strategy. Those are lifters. And then there's people that are neutral, that don't really add a lot. They don't take away, but if they do a certain job or have a role in your life, they're probably not at least degrading the experience. And then there's the active dissenters. Those are the people in an organization that honestly somehow get some demented joy from creating controversy and gossip. And, those are the ones I think you need to eliminate from your life once you've hit it head on, done your best to enable a leveling up or maybe a better approach to the relationship or their behavior. But if they can't, people don't, sheep's clothing, they don't typically change overnight. And so the last overlay, if you made a list of all the people in your world, both at work and home, and you go, where am I in the paradigm of, infinite potential versus the debilitating side of ones that aren't working for you? Is there potential? And if there is, maybe you do fight the fight a little longer, but, make it a proactive, an engaged decision for your betterment. And honestly, you're better when you have a better version of you in action. By letting others drag you down, you bring less than, and that's not good for the universe.
Absolutely. Let's take this to a definition, or let me quiz you for a minute. So let's say I'm a 25-year-old individual that's working in corporate America. How do I approach this conversation? I'm working for somebody. I'm in a job. Like how do I approach this conversation?
Well, I mean, I would first analyze what I'm bringing to the experience. Am I a lifter or a leaner? I think,
Yeah.
we're all mirrors. You only get what we, are you picking up what I'm putting down? You only get what you give.
Yeah.
Law of reciprocity. So make sure you're bringing your best. And if your best isn't creating a reciprocal experience, then maybe it is environmental or systemic. And is it an immediate boss? Maybe it's coworkers. Maybe it's systemic in the culture.
Yeah.
And so, choice, not chance, determines your destiny. You can pick up your toys and go play somewhere else by design. And so I think it's just honest assessment first
Yeah.
and
But
recognizing your.
let's say I enjoy where I work. How do I approach a wealth determiner conversation? Who should be my wealth determiners at 25 years old when I'm working in a corporate America environment?
Well, I think it's who you aspire to be. That's step one. Look around.
Yeah.
The reason I worked at the Journal Constitution newspaper for close to 9 years, and the realization that it was time to leave came down to me looking left, right, and up and down. And I went, I don't want to be my boss. I don't want to have, and I don't mean be as a person. I don't want that role. I don't want that responsibility. It doesn't inspire me. I don't want to be my boss's boss. I don't want to be my boss's boss. Sometimes you have to, carry the bag, do the work, and earn the right to be the boss's boss. And maybe CEO is your destiny. But if the price you pay to get there and the time it takes doesn't equate to an inspired journey, then you're probably just eating up time. And this as well as anybody, the most precious commodity, or not commodity, but resource you have is time. A
Yeah.
day spent in agony and unnecessarily is a day you never get back.
100%. And then I think about, like, let's say it's somebody in our world that's in the real estate industry that maybe is in their 40s, right? How should they be approaching this conversation? Who are the 5 wealth determiners? Well, it certainly could be a referral partner, a lender partner, or something along those lines that's
Heck yeah.
feeding business to them. Like, that would be a real clear definition of what a wealth determiner could be. It also could be somebody that's kind of coaching them around how to build wealth and net worth, right?
Yeah, wise
Um,
counsel. And it could be any spoke on the wheel. Remember, I hope everyone heard this. This is really important. Wealth is a holistic experience. There are lots
yeah,
of miserable, financially wealthy people who are missing pieces and parts of their lives that create a holistic, joyful life. And so getting clear on who your role models are and make sure you're tapping into their core genius and their wisdom, because that's the 2 horses meet, 5 horsepower.
yeah. And I mean, health is wealth too, right? Like, if you don't have your health, wealth doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So there's
Education,
certainly that.
inspiration, accountability, all of those really, really add up fast, and they adapt themselves into your habits, which ultimately become your personality and your identity. So it's a
Yeah.
bigger conversation.
I think simply an exercise, Rick, is put your name on a piece of paper and draw 5 lines with 5 circles, and whose names are you writing in those circles?
Yeah.
And what do you get out of that? And the reality is, the first time I did this exercise, I had blanks. I couldn't answer the question. I might have had 2. And I
Yeah.
remember thinking, man, I'm not doing so great in life. I only have 2. But that wasn't the truth. It was just a grade I was giving myself on the exercise. The truth is, you have to create the village, right? Like, you got to create the wealth determiners. It
Mhm.
doesn't just automatically show up. So how do you find somebody? Let's say I only had 2. How do I go fill 3, 4, and 5?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing, like you said, what's the current village, and then where are the deficiencies, and then where do you really want to evolve as a human being? What category from the wheel of life? If there's 12 categories, what are the 5 most important spokes that if you had an advocate, or and again, sometimes it's not just their wisdom, it may be their network, that if you earn the right or their trust, they open and expose you to opportunities and other people in the concentric circles that go with truly influential, amazing human beings. Some people, all people are created equal in the eyes of God, in my humble opinion, but not all people are created equal in capacity to serve and support you. And so getting clear on your mission is step one, and then figure out what fuel do you need to put in the tank, and what, external components to help you go fast and farther are required to really reach your potential. That's the way to do it. And then you said it earlier, like, it's not about just ditching people or removing people, but sometimes you might, there's only so many seats on the bus and so much time. And so there's an interesting thing I learned in career visioning years ago. How do you know when it's time to make a change? Say you're the owner of your own team or company, how do you know when it's time to make a change? And the 2-question litmus is simple. One, if they came in today and said, hey, I found a new opportunity, would you be heartbroken or secretly relieved? And then the second question is, if you had it to do over, would you hire them again for the same role and to be in your inner circle relational energy at work? And if the answer's, yes, I would be relieved, or no, I would not hire them again, you need to just do the heavy lifting and make the necessary change, because if they're impacting you negatively, they're probably having a similar effect on the rest of your organization and team when you're not there. And it's very likely it's even more significant because they tend to behave on their best when the boss is there.
And this conversation's getting a little real. All right,
Well,
here's the truth.
Hey, you have good job security. You're good, Brett.
There we go. All right, never mind. Here's
Not
the
that
truth.
I'm a boss.
The truth is, this is a really impactful conversation that most people don't put enough energy and weight to.
Right.
It's working on your life instead of in your life. How do you work on your life? As you're purposeful about finding key relationships. We understand key relationships is the secret sauce to a lot of aspects of our life, but it certainly is a secret sauce to the aspect of wealth in our life. And how you define wealth is is how you'll approach this conversation.
Yeah.
Yet, I think the challenge this week, Rick, is simply draw 5 circles on a piece of paper with your name on top of it and say, can you fill in the circles? If you can, do you like those people in the circles? Do you feel like you're getting what you need from those people in the circles, or are there empty circles? And if so, let's go have a conversation around how to help you fill those circles, or find people, how to identify people to put in those circles. It's really a simple exercise. I mean, it's not, we're used to drawing bubbles on paper and filling them in, right?
Yeah. Well, and your network is your net worth. Like we've heard this before. And again, we've said and wealth is a holistic experience. So, who's missing that needs to be there? If they were there, changes everything in that category or that area of your life. And then, so you asked a good question earlier, and I'm not sure I answered it. How do you go get it? A question unasked is a question unanswered. Talented people who are self-confident, have a strong identity of self-love, they have to give it away. Like it's an inherent human experience. And most of us with a heart and a mind for servant leadership want to lift people who are also lifters. And so if you come from contribution, you always think in terms of what can I bring to this experience to help you? And you start there, they're going to favor you with reciprocity. And the question, and here's the other thing, it's another secret tip, pro tip. Don't ask them to be that person necessarily. Let that evolve in the conversation. Better way to approach it is, you're someone of extreme influence and I respect you tremendously. Who do you know that I should know that's like you, that I might be able to benefit and help, that ultimately might also be a good thing for me?
Yeah.
Let them volunteer. If they're the one, they'll volunteer if they see potential.
Absolutely. We're in the real estate industry and we coach real estate agents all the time. And a basic form of coaching in the real estate world is, hey, take a snapshot of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and take a snapshot of the price house they live in and average it. And that's probably going to be your average sales price. Well, in this context, Rick, if we were to take a snapshot of the 5 people you put in your bubbles, your 5 wealth determiners, and average the wealth that they have, that is the probability of who you will become. And that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, that's a big thought. I'll add one more thing. I know fear usually keeps you from, it's debilitating and causes you to freeze up sometimes. Stop thinking about what you do as well. So just like I said, remember the last suggestion was, who do you know that I should know? Maybe your contribution is your network and people and asking the question, what's your biggest challenge today? When I say come from contribution, it's not necessarily having the answer. It's having resources to support them. It could be being a good listener and just letting them voice so that they self-discover the truth that's inside them externally. And so suspend that belief that you have to be smarter, better, faster. Maybe it's just being an advocate for their greatness and helping them find resources. So it's really that simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Question unasked is a question unanswered. If you don't reach out and try to add value and lean in, you're never going to reach that gold medal status.
100%. Look at us throwing grunge examples. I mean, gold medal examples. It's Mojo Monday. favorite day of the week. Happy Monday, guys.
Yep. Make it happen, man. We love you.